field yesterday.
I'll tell you what, they're dancing in our stomachs. You can imagine what it's like for the players, the coaches, and everyone involved in tonight's game. 26th and final meeting between these two teams this year, but easily the biggest meeting with so much on the line, a ticket to the World Series, Chris.
Mark, everybody seems to be nerved up with the exception of Derek Lowe, who's over in the Red Sox dugout. He's relaxed, comfortable, and he could be in the mix as far as the bullpen goes tonight. Everybody's available. Should be exciting. Should be fun. This is bigger than a World Series matchup.
Without question. So much hype, especially here in the Big Apple. Let's take a look at the big pitching matchup because it doesn't get any better than this. I mean, you got Roger Clemens, 2-0 in the postseason, going up against Pedro Martinez, 1-1. And, of course, we know they met on Saturday, Fenway Park. Roger got the better of them, but we had the melee and everything else that went on.
Really a black mark on the career of Pedro Martinez. Tonight's ball game, a defining moment in Pedro Martinez's career. Thus far, he met Rocket back in '99 in the postseason, won. Met him again in game number 3 in the year 2003, lost. A defining moment tonight for Pedro Martinez after that ugly, ugly baseball incident in game number 3. Tonight, the fans are going to be hooting, hollering, and taunting Pedro Martinez, but it's not about the fans. It's about Pedro Martinez's ability to throw strikes.
It could get a little ugly because so many crazy fans out there and, you know, crazy people that will probably try to do crazy stuff.
Everybody got through the emotions of that last appearance on both sides of both teams, and we've both done a good job of returning to play baseball. Both pitchers settled down after that and went out there and played baseball. I don't expect anything else. I expect, you know, Pedro to compete like he always does, and I expect Roger to do the same. We need to come ready to play.
You have to be jazzed up about this, Mark. It's just no bigger stage. Yankee Stadium, Pedro and the Rocket, they've got to figure it out. You know, every time you think they're going to lose, they pull up a victory. So I think they're going to lose tonight. I expect them to win again.
Here's hoping that the Red Sox can win. And Master Roger Clemens, who has a tendency to get wound tight in big games, you may see that tonight. His only loss in the postseason since joining the Yanks against Pedro Martinez back in '99. For Chris Collins, I'm Mark Ockerblom. Let's send it back to the studios. Jim?
All right, guys, thanks. And again, a reminder, NECN is your place for complete post-game coverage, win or lose. We will have live coverage immediately following tonight's game, so be sure to have it right here on NECN for full post-game wrap-up. Well, of course, the Bronx isn't exactly known for its abundance of Red Sox fans. They are outnumbered, but Sox fans are venturing into enemy territory, and our Greg Whalen is outside the ballpark this afternoon. How about the atmosphere there today, Greg?
Well, Jim, I think the numbers have changed a little bit. There were Red Sox fans all over New England watching that 6th game last night. Then they realized there was going to be a 7th game with that improbable pitching matchup for the ages. And they got in their cars and headed down here to Yankee Stadium, got up to the ticket window. As they saw it, they just had to be here.
This time, for this game, a longer line, the usual mix, Red Sox, Yankees, side by side, and one pungent message from one Red Sox loyalist for Roger Clemens.
This was my mother's idea.
And just what does he and his mother have against Roger?
Well, went from Boston to Toronto to the Yankees. You can live with Toronto, but not the Yankees. Come on now.
And what about this matchup?
I think it's about time the Rocket fizzled, and I think Pedro's going to have it this time.
No problem. The Rocket's going to slam it, too. No doubt in my mind.
Hope Clemens pulls it out, but I don't know. Should be a good one.
Hope Pedro pitches better than last time.
It was a problem, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. He didn't have fastball at all.
Roger's going to take it, especially, this is going to be his last season with the Yankees. He's going to take it and he deserves it.
This is going to make Pedro. This is going to show everyone in the world that Pedro is the #1 guy you want on the mound in any situation.
I'm not guaranteeing nothing, but I think Pedro would get a big win,
Well, I met Harry from the Bronx in that line, and it's got to be a tough go being a Red Sox fan in the Bronx. He's one of them. And I met Jen, a Chicago transplant, now living in Boston. She's a Cubs fan. Now she's pulling for the Red Sox. Broken-hearted. Red Sox are the next best thing. In the Bronx, Greg Whalen, NECN.
And that's tough for the Cubs, too. Let's hope the Red Sox fans are in the same boat. Thanks, Greg. And we want to tell you about some breaking news that we are following this afternoon out of New York City, and the scene is just a couple of miles.
What do you think it's going to take for the Red Sox to win tonight?
I don't know. A miracle?
Nixon hammers one to deep right. If it's fair, it's gone.
I'm a Sox fan. I don't think I believe. Maybe I do believe in a hex.
And the Rocket's going to be the toughest he's ever been tonight. This is it for him. Rocket's going to take it, I'm afraid.
What's it going to take for the Sox to win?
Divine intervention. It doesn't matter what it takes. It has to happen. Anything will do.
I hope they win. The Yankees need to get knocked off their pedestal.
I don't know. It's going to be tough. I hope they do it.
There's some optimism for you right there.
I hope the Sox do win.
Go Red Sox.
You know, as with most Sox fans, it's I hope or this has to happen. It's not it will happen.
Yeah,
we can't quite get there, can we?
Well, we've been, you know.
No, Mark, can you just talk about the sense of urgency in the 7th inning to solve Contreras with the likelihood of Mariano coming in after that?
I don't know if it was a sense of, if you're saying a sense of urgency, it's just a feeling that this team has had all year long where it's like, all right, every inning, you know you're down or whatever, let's go, let's try to get some runs. And that's the way, if you've seen our team play throughout the year, it's been like that, where it's like, all right, there's three outs, we're playing to the last out, every out to us is important, and we're going to go out there and keep battling. No matter who's out there on the hill, we don't think ahead. We're like, all right, we kind of think of what the moment is and go out there and try to do our best.
What else do we have for either Nomar or Jason? Alice?
Jason, you said last night, all we need is another day. Do you feel the same way tonight about Game 7? Just give us another chance, another day.
That's the way this team's function. I said it a lot last night, and a lot of people laughed at me, but this team just give us a chance. And you know, we had our backs to the ball even more so after giving up a 3-run lead and then turn around being down 2 and still coming away and fighting through that game and finding a way to win. But we've got one more game tomorrow.
Ed?
Nomar, your first at bat, you fought off a tough pitch, got a base hit out of that. Does that set up the rest of the game for you, give you a good feeling about yourself?
I don't know if it sets up the rest of the game. I mean, every time I step up to the plate, I'm just trying to do whatever I can to, get on base or whatever to help the team, and that's really my focus each and every time I step up to the plate, whatever that may be, whatever's asked of me. And, for that, I got on, and other times I got on, hopefully score some runs. And like I said, it's really, when you see the runs and everything we've done, that's a total team effort.
Up there.
Jason, can you give us some insight into Pedro's mindset coming into a big game and whether you think the emotions of his last appearance will or won't play into how he comes out tomorrow?
I think everybody got through the emotions of that last appearance on both sides of both teams, and we've both done a good job of returning to play baseball. Both pitchers settled down after that and went out there and played baseball. I don't expect anything else. I expect Pedro to compete like he always does. And I expect Roger to do the same. We need to come ready to play.
All business for Game 7.
This is SportsCenter. It all comes down to this. Pedro, the Rocket, and the electricity of New York City. Will lightning strike twice? And why these phenoms have a history. The Cubs once again go into early hibernation. Now do you believe in curses? How the Giants can turn over a new leaf. Why the Panthers won't change a thing. And undefeated Northern Illinois will get a BCS bid. Fact or fiction? Nothing fishy here. It's SportsCenter now. It is sports' fiercest rivalry on America's biggest stage. The Red Sox and Yankees in a winner-take-all showdown at Yankee Stadium. Welcome to SportsCenter. I'm Dan Patrick. Tonight's Game 7 between the Red Sox and Yankees is one of the most anticipated games of more than 180,000 played in Major League history. Here's Peter Gammons on the pitching stars aligned for this dramatic series finale.
After 6.5 months and 25 meetings between them, the Red Sox and Yankees have brought the American League pennant to a perfect ending. Another showdown between two of the greatest pitchers of this generation, Pedro Martinez and Roger Clemens.
You sit in the backyard and you bring these matchups up in your head. So, you have two Hall of Fame caliber guys going.
Let's admit it. This is it. And, you really have to do a good job of talking yourself into making yourself believe it's just another baseball game.
I think Pedro Martinez would be on your top list if you're a manager. And I'm sure Roger Clemens is up there too, so that's what makes the game so special.
Where Saturday's Game 3 turned out to be ugly and anticlimactic, this Game 7 is dramatic history between two pitchers consumed with both drama and history.
Everybody got through the emotions of that last appearance on both sides of both teams, and we've both done a good job of returning to play baseball.
Roger, that game the other day, yeah, he did get revved up and certainly stayed within himself, and hopefully it's the same.
I expect, Pedro to compete like he always does, and I expect Roger to do the same.
Tonight will be the 26th time the Red Sox and Yankees will have played this season, more than any two teams have ever played one another in 1 year. And for all their history, this is only the third time they've played in the final game to determine who goes home and who continues. In 1949 and 1978, the Yankees won. In 2003, it comes down to Martinez and Clemens for what may be the last time. At Yankee Stadium, this is Peter Gammons, ESPN.
Thank you, Peter. Back in 1986, Roger Clemens started and won Game 7 of the Red Sox American League Championship Series with the Angels. Today, Pedro Martinez is looking for his own Game 7 clinchers. The Bo Sox haven't been back to the Fall Classic since then, 1986. As fate would have it, Pedro's shot comes against Clemens in a rematch of their Game 3 Classic. What will the repercussions be for Martinez in front of a very raucous Yankee Stadium crowd? Sal Palantonio details Game 7 security measures.
At about 4:30 p.m., Pedro Martinez arrived on the Red Sox team bus and was immediately surrounded by a phalanx of plainclothes security, most of them New York police officers requested by the team in Major League Baseball, and then escorted into Yankee Stadium to a chorus of Bronx cheers. While New York's finest have been deployed at higher levels in and around Yankee Stadium to preempt any incidents, New York's tabloids on Thursday did their best to provide vivid reminders of what happened in Game 3, when Martinez threw at Kareem Garcia's head and then threw 72-year-old bench coach Don Zimmer on his head. According to police sources, both Martinez and Manny Ramirez have been assigned both a detective and sergeant from NYPD's Intelligence Division. And when Martinez warms up in the Red Sox bullpen, the NYPD will be out in full force, along with security officers from Major League Baseball. One police commander told me that the key tonight will not be the highly visible uniform presence in and around Yankee Stadium, but the security that you can't see. The stadium, he said, will be flooded with plainclothes NYPD and private security guards to make sure anything that does happen doesn't get out of hand. At Yankee Stadium, Sal Palantonio, ESPN.
This will mark the 26th time the Yankees and Red Sox will have met this season. That's the most two teams have ever met during one season. A man who usually makes noise at a Knicks game is there to root on his Yankees. Spike Lee joining us from the stadium. Could you sum up the love-hate relationship or the hatred that you have for the Boston Red Sox?
Well, Dan, it's not just the Red Sox. It's every team from Boston. Celtics, Red Sox, Patriots, just don't like them. They don't like us. So, it's not going to... This is the biggest, though, right here, game. I was at the 86 game with Buckner in Game 7, but this is bigger.
Did you root against the Red Sox in 1986, not necessarily rooting for the Mets?
No, I was a Mets fan that year.
Oh, okay, they were good that year. Oh, okay, I understand now.
Yeah, right.
But when it comes to the Red Sox, do you feel like that you are rooting for the evil empire, that you understand where people look at the Yankees and feel that way?
Well, of course, they've had... it's 26 World Championships, so they have to view that. New York City is Babylon, all that stuff, but we don't care about that. And the Yankees are the greatest team in sports, period.
Do you feel like they're a little more vulnerable this year than they have been in previous years?
Oh, a lot. We got a lot of holes, but I think that I'm going to pass it up for tonight, and we may hopefully, I'm scared. This Boston team is great. I'm not going to hate. They got some great players, and, they could have quit yesterday when we were up, but they didn't. And now it's Game 7.
Do you think you could ever do a movie and capture what this is all about from family standpoints or generations?
You can't do it. That's why sports is so great. You can't do. It's it's almost impossible to duplicate the drama that happens in a real sporting event. You know, you can't recreate that stuff. You know, that's why everybody's watching this game tonight.
You're a script writer. Write the script. Tell me how this is going to end tonight.
Well, hopefully they'll be cheering in the Bronx and crying their beers once again in Boston.
Spike, good to talk to you. Enjoy the game.
All right, Dan. Thank you.
Still to come on SportsCenter, Pedro and Roger, their top 10 moments, and why, if history is any indication, tonight's matchup should prove to be one of the best baseball has ever seen. Cub fans can't believe what they've seen. We'll tell you why the curse is alive and well in Chicago, and we'll talk to the fan who tried to catch a foul ball. He's been everywhere. Now LeBron goes Hollywood, a preview of his matchup tonight with the Lakers. And B.J. Simmons has been...
Championship Series, Dusty Baker warned it's not over. This morning, all across Chicago, fans are saying the very same thing. It's still not over. 58 years they've been waiting for a World Series, 95 for a title, and today that wait continues after an excruciating new chapter was written to the Book of Pain titled The Lovable Losers. Pedro Gomez was on hand as a team and a city looked to pick up the pieces.
Outside Wrigley Field, the marquee no longer invites fans to the next home game. And the ticket windows, which were anticipating the first World Series sales since 1945, are boarded up for the winter. Inside, seats awash with bedlam ever since the Cubs began their playoff push 6 weeks earlier are now eerily vacant. The beer-stained bleachers await the first snowfall.
This doesn't seem like it's off-season yet. You know, that's the same thing my boy said this morning. He said, Daddy, it's the off-season now. And then that's what it is, the off-season. But, you know, I still watch the World Series. I enjoy watching baseball. Just wish it was us.
Now it's the time that you're going to go home and thinking about it when you see, you know, the Marlins go play against the Yankees or against the Boston, you know, you're like, wow. You know, that should be us.
The Cubs franchise is the heartbeat of this blue-collar neighborhood. But now the folks who live and work here are broken, both spiritually and financially.
It'll cost an awful lot of money, but it'll cost the community way more money. The businesses around here will suffer. I mean, this could have been the biggest thing that happened to Chicago. It would have been bigger than the Bulls and the Bears combined.
Chicagoans have grown accustomed to the Cubs losing ways, but even the most optimistic fans admit that after coming within 5 outs of their first World Series appearance in 58 years, the pain associated with 2003 will have a lasting effect.
Once a Cub, always a Cub, and so it's the same type of feeling. I wanted it just as much as anybody else, so I came up short.
This tops them all. Because we were so close. Before, you know, there was a tease. They won the wild card 1 year. They won 2 games, then lost the next 3 to San Diego. Then they played Frisco, I believe, in '89. They got ball, you know, they won 1 game. But this thing, they were in command. It was like everybody expected them to win. And they just choked, I guess.
And I wish we were going to the World Series, you know, but we came close. I mean, we came real close. And I don't know, I mean, it hurts big time. But it also motivates you for better and bigger things next year.
But at the end of the day, baseball remains a game best shared between father and son.
All right, Pedro Gomez, thank you. The Cubs are just the 5th team to lose games 6 and 7 of a postseason series at home after leading 3 games to 1, the last to do it, the '85 Blue Jays. We'll have a different view of the famous curse of the Cubs a little later in SportsCenter.
Many Chicagoans point to this incident in the left field stands in the 8th inning of Game 6 Tuesday night as another in a long line of incidents that perpetuate the curse on the Cubs. At the time, left fielder Moises Alou was chasing the foul ball when a number of Cub fans, including 26-year-old Steve Bartman, reached for the ball and kept Alou from having a shot at catching it. Steve Bartman, a lifelong Cubs fan, is joining us now via the phone on SportsCenter. Steve, take me back to Tuesday night. The ball is coming off the bat of Luis Castillo, and what's going through your mind?
I was with a couple friends, and you know, we had a couple beers in us, and we were just sitting there and caught up in the moment, and I didn't even think twice. I just reached out and grabbed the ball, as anyone would have been, I think, in that position.
When the ball was coming at you, did you realize that Moises Alou had a chance to catch it?
To tell you the truth, I really couldn't see him. He was like directly under me, and I just didn't see him. And combined with the excitement of the minute, and may I say that I'm truly sorry for causing the heartache to the city of Chicago, the Cubs management, team players, and of course, the fans.
When security came to talk to you,
right,
were you being informed that you had done something wrong, or they were there for your protection?
Well, I was told that they were there for my protection. People were throwing things at me, bottles, glass, plastic, and it was very scary because I could have got hurt, hit with something and seriously injured.
Have you received death threats, Steve?
Yes, I have received at least 5 death threats, calling my parents' house, and people get, especially from the news, they've been calling, and I'm pretty much right now, hiding out right now.
Can you stay in the Chicago area?
Do you like Howard Stern's butt cheese? Hello?
We've been had. That was not Steve Bartman. We'll be back. Got plenty of football for you, and we'll play Fact or Fiction. We will bring in those guys for Fact or Fiction. And Warren Sapp has gone from the hunter to the hunted. Why he's not willing to pay the price for his actions just yet.
I think so.
Okay. Jeff, can you look back and say, what was this team not doing under your tenure?
Yeah, I should really go back a little bit to spring training. The first day of spring training, I told them we could win. I really thought that we had a chance to be the kind of club that they are now. Now, obviously, we knew it was going to take a lot of hard work, but I had told them that the year before, we were in first place for a week in May, but we had 140 days of pitchers on the DL, so we had to avoid major problems on the pitching staff. Well, sure enough, we hit May, the first week in May, and we lose 3 pitchers. Well, when you lose 3 of your horses, you're going to be in trouble. And we went 2-8 in that stretch. And even when Jack took over, they went 3-7 in the next 10 games. They were struggling. The pitching staff was banged up. The pitching came back. Dontrell Willis got, he really gave them a tremendous boost. Jack has pushed the right buttons, and it's been a beautiful story.
But after your departure from the Marlins, did you think they realistically had a chance to even make the playoffs, let alone the World Series?
Yeah, I really did. Now, this will sound like now I'm sitting here and in hindsight saying, oh, yes. I really did. It was something that we preached from the first day of spring training. We knew we had talent. We knew we were a quick club. We had as good a defensive team as there was in the league. If the pitching were healthy, we knew we'd get enough offense. I really did. That was so early in the season. We were 16-22 when I was relieved. That's so early, and you just never know. They went 10 under until, May 29th or something, and then they've been the best team in baseball since. But we knew we had talent.
Who do you think was the biggest acquisition for this team? They bring in Jeff Conine, Miguel Cabrera, Dontrell Willis. If you were going to pick one, could you?
No, I don't think the first one was Dontrell. He made the major impact right away. Number one, he won ball games, but number two, he brought an enthusiasm to the club, and he replaced A.J. Burnett, who went out of the rotation. But then I think Urbina was a big pickup because Oogie was a favorite of mine when I managed Montreal, but he gave them 2 closers, and that is great. One could set up, one could close. That is outstanding. Conine came in right at the right time. Mike Lowell went down. They lost the ability to drive in a lot of runs out of his spot. Conine was outstanding. Well, Chad Fox did a heck of a job. Rick Helling did a heck of a job. Then you got the good left-handed bat of Lenny Harris on the bench. Larry Beinfest, the general manager, went out, and with the backing of Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, they were willing to spend some money and make some changes.
Did you watch the game last night?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you feel like you're still part of the team?
Well, can I show you something, Dan?
Well, be careful. Considering what just happened a couple of minutes ago, be careful what you show me.
Well, I didn't see it, but I got to show you this. See, this is a shirt we had made for the club. Little Things Win Rings, 2003, and it's a World Series ring from 1997. We started this in spring training, and this was an award for guys doing the little things. Well, this club does the little things as well as any team in baseball. I was wearing this baby last night. I'm telling you, I am superstitious. I am so proud of these guys, and as good a coaching staff as there is in baseball, this team has. So it is a great group. Jack pushed all the right buttons, the front office, the ownership. They were behind it. It takes a full team, right from the top to the bottom. And I watched it. I got a little nervous, but I watched it.
65,000 fans have been showing up in the postseason. Fair weather fans, or are these fans going to be back there next year for this team?
Oh, boy. You got me on the spot there. When I was there, we were lucky to get 10. I know that when Dontrell pitched, they got 16 this year. Then the people came out. Maybe the people were just waiting for us to show, or for the Marlins to show that they were for real. Because they still, you hear in all the talk shows, the radio shows down there in South Florida, that here we are, 97 all over again. What's going to happen? Is this team going to be dismantled? So I don't know. I'm hoping that they do, because this is a fun team to be around. This is the finest bunch of guys that I've ever been around. I'll tell you, it was a pleasure being a part of it.
You can build your franchise around one pitcher. Who's that pitcher?
Well, I'll tell you right now, I think Josh Beckett's the best pitcher in baseball, the way he's throwing the ball right now. He did again last night, 4 innings on 2 days rest. Here's a kid that pitched all last year with blisters on his finger. Scared to death that we were going to hurt him. But right now, I think he's as effective as anybody in baseball. So they've got several pitchers on that ball club that you could build a club around. You know, Mark Redmond's done a tremendous job coming over from Detroit. Big Brad Penny has got unlimited potential. Carl Pavano has been the best number 5 starter in baseball, probably, and Dontrell Willis is a very special kid. That's a pretty good pitching staff.
You going to go to the games in Miami?
I don't think so. No, not that I would be a distraction since I'm old news, but I don't think so. No, I'm going to watch it on TV.
Jeff, good to talk to you. Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, so we come on SportsCenter. Can Eli...
Game 3.